die, we post-release kind of a thing.
My dad just sent me a picture of him from prom, and he looks legitimately retarded. Like, he looks like he has some... I don't know if it can show... Yeah, it can't show up on my...
Oh, no, it can't.
Oh, there it is. Like, doesn't he?
Wow.
Doesn't he look like
Looks like he's at the cellar.
Yeah, he looks like he has extra number 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25 chromosomes.
Why did he send that to you?
It's, you know what, Feeney? I try to wrap my head around his mental state often and come up with quite a few. Quite a bit. Welcome, everybody, to a new episode of What's the Scenario, a Patreon exclusive podcast for the time being. I'm one of your hosts, Mike Cannon. With me, as always,
Mike Feeney. And of course, we're joined by
Brendan Sagalow.
Yeah, the Honey Jack Raccoon.
I'll never get that, man. I thought you were going, and of course, and then you waited for me to say something.
Nope.
And then
it was all one fluid sentence, but you were...
It really wasn't. There was no pause or hiccup. It was pretty...
Yes, there was. Look back. You went, and of course.
No, I pointed.
Yeah, and I said, and of course, joined by...
No,
yeah,
we're going to have to...
I said the Honey Jack Raccoon because you... The Honey Jackoon.
Honey Jack Raccoon. That's an awesome
Honey
fucking
Jack
nickname,
Rabbit.
dude.
It's pretty fun that you're out of cups.
Yeah.
I got a cup around here somewhere.
He's still got cold coffee in his one mug.
Yeah. Oh, with grinds that have settled to the bottom and they're impossible to clean out.
What's the point in having a cup if I'm just going to put what I'm putting in my mouth anyway? Like, what's the middleman for?
Oh, so your mouth shit doesn't go into the bottle.
Well, that and also just, just being part of civilization.
And also some sort of semblance of, like, rationing or,
right.
Sort of...
also class
control,
manners, making sure that you're
etiquette.
Not just completely falling off the cliff of psychosis because of quarantine. Anything else?
I feel like you're talking about yourself now.
Yeah, I'm trying to wish your Honey Jack through your screen into my hand. I'll throw it all away, baby.
I'm so bloated from this booze, man. I gotta
Well, yeah, you're having like 4,000 grams of sugar every time you drink it.
Yeah, if you're gonna drink, you got to start switching over to some switch to like some vodka sodas.
I know. I think the next thing
like
I'm going to get is going to be a vodka and start making vodka sodas.
Just buy a thing of club soda, man. Do some vodka sodas or some spike seltzers. Just some.
That's a move. Spike seltzers, but you should also get Everclear. You should just drink. You should just become the Everclear.
Brendan
guy.
will be the guy that goes blind. The one that put on the bottle.
Honestly, what an absolute boost to the podcast that would be. So, Brendan, if you could just drink yourself blind.
I gotta be honest, you go and me, blind Brendan Sagalow would be a real fun.
Yeah, blind sneaky raccoon.
Yeah, that's not as sneaky anymore. He's more of a wandering raccoon.
Yeah, the blind bumbling raccoon. All right, so we have some. Was that him doing that, or was that the internet?
That's his internet, if you could believe it.
Wow. This is... I'm going to keep this in because of how much I can't believe it. And it's still going. It's still going.
And he's only now probably just hearing us, and he's going to react to it.
Oh,
Wait,
look
what?
at his face. He's so pissed.
No.
He's about to rip the cord in slow motion out of his phone.
Oh!
Folks, this is why you join the $10 tier, you fucking you animals. Also, let's get this out of the way before Brendan comes back. Okay, so we'll wait till Brendan gets in.
I'm back. Right.
That was
wild,
buddy.
What happened?
You were in slow.
Yeah, you were in computer ketamine.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, but my iPad just starts connecting to my shitty Wi-Fi, and I can't have any of that, so I had to turn that off.
Yeah.
We did a speed test earlier with Brendan, and his internet, his download speed was 3. 3. For reference, mine's 146. Anything under 25 is slow. Brendan had 3.
Wait, what's the unit of measure? Cheeseburgers?
It's Mbps, which is
Brendan's upload speed is 3 cheeseburgers.
Yeah, dude, that's neck and neck with 56K.
Yeah,
it's not good. Me and my roommates are gonna have a talk tomorrow. We already we're all right, let's call.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's baffling that it's only taken 3 months to do that. And the first episode, we talked to you and strategize. We give you a strategy on how to accomplish what you need to accomplish. And you're like,
this is the difference between my friends here, okay? I said, me and my roommates are going to have a talk tomorrow. Feeney went, hell yeah, man. And you shamed me for not doing it earlier.
Yeah. I mean, Feeney meant hell yeah, as in, like, it's about time. We've been worried about you.
Oh,
I did mean it's about time, you know.
Okay. Well, I like that. We were worried about you. I like that.
Okay.
Let's get to the question.
So let's again, patreon.com/scenariopod. We are a hypothetical-based podcast for all of our new listeners, and the one cunt that quit his membership earlier today and really hurt our feelings with what he wrote. What did he write? 3 half a fags?
Called us like half a fags or something.
There's no reason to give.
There's no reason to bring it up.
Any shine. We would have absolutely won if we just never announced that on this.
We did win because we still got his $5.
We did get his $5, but still, it's like, what are we doing here?
Imagine being a cheap jabroni and fucking complaining. Go suck an egg. All right, so. We got, we're going to go from tier to tier for our priority. Highest paid tier obviously gets priority. We only have a few Patreon questions today, which is great because we're going to jump into some that our own sneaky or clumsy raccoon, blind, clumsy, stumbling, bumbling raccoon.
You don't have to keep adding.
Blind, stumbling, bumbling, hungry, falling down, chubby raccoon. All right.
With slow internet.
Yeah, with slow internet. Slow, stumbling, mumbling.
Yeah.
Raccoon. Okay, so first question from John Beatty from the Rosebud Baker Memorial Fund, our $50 motherfucking tier. This guy is a hero. If you had to choose, who is your favorite comic all time and what work of theirs should people watch first?
This is tough, man. It's so... It ebbs and it flows, It depends on the mood and depends on I mean,
I have 2 instantly.
I have 2 instantly as well.
Go ahead,
but
Brendan,
it does ebb and flow for sure. I would say Bill Burr, and to watch Let It Go. Let It Go is his, I think personally, I feel like that's his best special. That's where he talks about getting the dog and everything.
And then with the muffins.
I think that's the one with the muffins.
And it has
the one with the muffins.
The chain store. That's great.
Yeah.
Checking out. Yeah.
I just was thinking about punching the lady's muffins. I love that. He's like, and I, like an idiot, try to explain it to her. I've never related to a special more in my entire life because the entire thing is about intense anger.
Yeah, for sure. And then Patton Oswalt, and then his album Feeling Kind of Patton or Werewolves and Lollipops. Those are 2 like incredible hours of just like amazing writing, and it all feels natural.
One of them are like 2 hours. Isn't that Werewolves and Lollipops really long?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, but that's a really good one. He is it's just like amazing original material. That shit got me into comedy, those albums.
I haven't seen his new special. Did you?
Yeah, it's okay.
It's fine. Yeah, he's one of those guys where he's he's changing from what he once was. He's too successful to be the Patton of old.
Yeah, he might be too afraid to say some shit.
It's not even that. It's like he's grown up. He's a millionaire with
Wife
like,
died.
yeah, his wife died. He's got a second wife that he married 11 minutes later. And, it's like
embarrassing. That's a poor form. Yeah, he also had like an hour about it, like right after.
Yeah, I mean that I wasn't bothered with. If Nicole
Yeah, that hour
croaks,
was
I
awesome.
have jokes ready for Nicole's death. So, so I'll have that hour ready to go.
I'm gonna depart all because Brendan already took Let It Go. I'm gonna go with if I have to go with two. Well, I'm gonna say George Carlin jamming in New York. It's just that airline announcement's like 14-minute bit is like one of the most insane. It just is.
It's like a comedy vulture ripping every shred of meat off of a skeleton.
Every single one. And then the whole like how he ends with the whole like the planet's gonna be fine, we're not fine. Like that whole like it just is it's
gonna shake us off like a bad case of the fleas. That is so haunting and fresh in my head all the time, especially with what's happening now. I'm just like, it is gonna shake us off.
Oh, dude, I just watched that Our Planet like documentary on Netflix. It's like the follow-up to, Planet Earth kind of a thing. And it just shows like the rate in which things are melting and how like, pretty much if there isn't drastic and like overhauled human change in the next 20 years, it's irreversible and detrimental to all of life on the planet.
We're done. We're past the tipping point.
Yeah. Well, also it's like there's no, even if tomorrow every single person on the planet just snapped and became like carbon, we're going to be carbon neutral and be efficient in greenhouse. It's like, that's never going to happen. So we're going to fucking destroy the whole planet.
Here's hoping that this next plague, whatever it is, just absolutely bomb rushes 90% of civilization.
Carpet bombs.
And our 10%, we're part of the 10%, obviously, and we're the only 3 comedians left.
Wow.
Boy, would that help my ticket sales.
Yeah. Would you rather?
Yeah. So I would. Yeah, the only Patreon podcast.
Yeah, dude, I'll tell you what, it wouldn't even be a second guess if I could wipe out 90% and we were left and we were the only comedians, even if it's family. I don't care.
Especially if it's family. Yeah. No. So I would say jamming in New York. And then I think I gotta go just with the classic. I gotta go with I was debating between the prior one, but I have a feeling Mike's going to throw that in, so I'll leave that to him. I'm going to say Seinfeld's I'm Telling You for the Last Time, because it's just,
that's great.
Again, there's not one word out of place in a whole hour. And I get it that, that's his whole shtick, is he's a writing surgeon, but there's also another level to it, which is the performance of it, which is to not fuck up one word and not, you know what I mean? And maybe he thinks he did, but there's no likes, and there's no filler words. He's just, it's just zero fat for an hour.
If I was performing an act for 20 years, I would hope to nail it too.
I don't think you would.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think you would. I don't think anybody could, because you say it different. I say every joke I do a little bit different on stage every single time, even if it's a word or two. I always say it a little bit. I'll put an inflection on this.
Yeah, that's because you're a human being that enjoys variety, not some sort of autistic joke robot.
Oh fuck! I didn't know we were picking apart each other's answers and what we.
I'm not picking apart your answer. I'm taking another opportunity to smash Seinfeld.
I would also say with
him.
Seinfeld, it's like 20 years of doing the same thing. I'm kind of impressed that he didn't look like sick of it when he was doing it.
See, I'm the opposite. I think he's sick for not being sick of it. It's you still have the same enthusiasm to deliver this horseshit about drying machines? Nobody gives a fuck.
And if we're going to throw, I want to just throw like a notable mention, because it'll never crack or whatever. But if we're talking like comedy specials, the fucking Kevin James Sweat the Small Stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh man,
and again,
huge honorable mention.
Never reach back with T-Rex arms ever again.
Another guy who's been doing that same act for 20 years, but I guess that's what I like. I like some polish because
Yeah.
it is.
I have fresh
fucking
hatred for
perfect.
Jerry because of his interview on What the Fuck. He is
Oh, I
just,
love that interview.
You didn't
it was
like
it was a terrible interview. He's a fucking joke. He's completely, he like admits certain things have affected him and what comedy is, and then he'll just be like, but if you're funny, you're funny. And it's like, no, you actually already completely contradicted yourself. You went into how your parents were orphans and how they basically isolated you your entire life, and you just, and then disregarded it as if he's not smart enough to attach to like attach the two things. It frustrates me because I think he's lying.
Mhm.
I don't know. I thought it was a great interview because I thought it was two exact opposite schools of thoughts. Where you have the Marin we have Seinfeld who's so detached from personal stuff that it's frustrating, and you have Marin who's so attached to everything personal that it's fucking infuriating. Where all I have to do is hear him whine for an hour. And I don't like Marin on his podcast, but I love Marin. What if I've seen him live at the store? I'm like,
His
oh,
stand-up's good.
yeah,
Yeah.
stand-up's good, but I'm just like the whole like, I don't know, man. Isn't everything suck? Like it's just like it's like a whiny.
I don't
It's
know
like a
if you're
very-
familiar with that much of his stand-up.
I mean, I watched him do 40 minutes at the Comedy Store, and he was great.
What
but
was
it
he doing
still
40
was like-
minutes for?
He had a main room show.
Oh,
I guess he was just closing it out, or maybe he just was blowing the light. I don't know, but he did a 40.
It's like,
I feel
I'm
like-
the king of podcasts.
I feel like that interview should have been like 2.5 hours. Like
Well, that's
the
Seinfeld
thing.
on
They
Marin.
I think they
wasted the
got to
first-
an
they
interesting
wasted the-
place at the end.
They wasted
Yeah.
the first half hour with Marin doing zero research, being like, "So you grew up in what? Long Island, Rhode Island?" It's like
He
you
said
don't
Queens.
fucking
He was like, "You grew up in Queens." He's like,
yeah.
"Long Island, man."
Yeah,
but
it's like just fucking know
I mean,
the
you do
basic
know
shit that we
that
all
was
know.
like 3 days after his chick died.
Oh, I
Like,
don't.
that's-
Then push the interview. That
You
you're
know,
Yeah.
but I mean, obviously Jerry is a tough get, and he had to promote his Netflix thing. I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying, like,
That's
that is-
actually exactly what you're doing. But it's
But
fine
that's
because
actually-
you don't like exactly. You don't like Seinfeld. You 100% were like, well, it's because this and this and this.
well, it
I don't
is.
know.
That's a reason. That's the exact reason.
Now, that phone bit on Sweat the Small Stuff.
Ooh.
Woo!
Oh, the jet ski bit. It is when the coin falls in between your two seats, and you're like, I could see the fucking ridges. Whatever he
This-
says.
Dude,
And he doesn't
him
curse.
in the water going like this,
Oh yeah.
like
And then
looking
he-
for the jet ski is like,
Not only that, it's when he does this, and then he goes, and he chokes on a little bit of the water. So good.
Mike, what's your answer?
Man, that excuses thing really set a fire in my soul, and I'll just fight you, Feeney. My answers are Richard Pryor live in concert, which is still one of the best specials ever because he somehow manages to be completely word perfect, performance perfect, with a crazy interactive crowd that somehow hangs on every one of his word. Like he's creating long sweeping vignettes where he's acting out all the different parts. That hunting bit where it takes like 8 minutes of him just fucking walking diligently across the stage.
Joke from that.
It's crazy, man. The reason I wrote The Last Time I Got Hit by My Parents is because of that special. I watched him talk about getting whooped by his parents, and I was like, oh, I have a kind of a story in that area. So it immediately made me a better comic to just watch that. And also, my favorite special of all time is Chappelle killing him softly. It's to me wall to wall the greatest 60-minute special ever.
It really is.
Ever.
It is the best special I think I've ever seen in my life.
Because it's again another one where this is I don't know. This is just the difference. Is all that polish like da 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 da. It's like, yeah, that's great, but if you can be word perfect and have no fat and still come off as completely natural and in the moment like Chappelle does in Killing Him Softly, that to me is comedy because it's both a performance and it's also an amazing written piece. It's like, I could watch a robot read fucking jokes. That doesn't, that's cool. I like Seinfeld's amazing at that stuff. Even watching his newest special, I watched some of it and I was like, oh, I've stolen from him. Like just in terms of how
His
we
newest
kind of
special
like.
also is not great. I mean,
No, it
that's not.
sucks. It's terrible. It's terrible, and there's jokes from 20 years ago in it, which again is why I can't stand Jerry Seinfeld as a comedian. I respect what he does. I think he's one of the greatest of all time, but I think as a stand-up comedian, he's fine.
I would also be remiss to mention, and I think we'd all would be remiss to mention, Chewed Up by Louis C.K.
Yeah.
Of course.
That's another good one. That's a 2B or whatever.
Yes, of course.
So 1, 2,
Honorable
2B.
mention.
Yeah, that's a great one. I mean,
Yeah, Louis is stuff. I always loved Louis, but there was always something about Louis where like a couple of his tracks or jokes, he just would get like super like dirty for the sake of being dirty, and I never that's to me those things where I'm like I never fully like latched on. I'm never like, oh, he said the dirty word. You know what I mean? Like if he's talking about just like, even though I still laugh at it, where I'm like, you know, the him about being like coming on his cat's back and all that other shit. I'm like, oh, that's fun. But at the same time, I'm not like, this is brilliant shit. You know what I mean? Like I'm just like, oh, we're just
love it, man.
But that's like that's like the Carlin thing where he can go from like, you know, poignant,
right,
perfect point to then like so silly where you're just like, oh, he just said he's gonna come on the cat's back. Like, I don't know, I still have a lot of elementary school in me to where that stuff it doesn't like excite me. Like I'm like, oh, naughty shit, this is exciting. But it is like, you know, that stuff is and will always make me laugh.
Yeah, it's like right up my alley, that kind of humor.
Right up your dumpy butt.
Right up my butthole.
Right up your raccoon stink.
All right. Well, now that we've done 30 minutes on our comedy.
That was good though. We had a nice wide spectrum of comedians too that we all got to go over there, you know?
Yeah, that's true. What's your favorite female hour ever?
Female hour.
I'll be honest, I don't remember which one it is, but one of Ellen's ones where she has a bit about
early 2000s, the HBO one.
It's she's either wearing all the white, or she's wearing like all like blue or something. It's the one where she talks about like when or maybe she's wearing like that cardigan. It's the one where she talks about like, there's 2 bits on it that I fucking love. It's the one where she's in the bathroom stall and like someone in a public restroom and like someone just like keeps trying to come in and you have to be like, someone's in here. Like you have to always announce it. And then the bit about when you're like walking in public and then you trip and then have to pretend like, oh, I'll just start running now. Like you just do a thing and then you like tell people like, hey, you're going to want to watch out for that. There's the thing over there. I didn't trip over it, but you might, you know. And then she has another bit about saying like, you got you're singing the wrong words to a song out loud your whole life, and then you embarrass yourself in public where you're like, what was the words? Does she have it? Oh, I've been saying monkey hatchet this entire time. Billy and fun.
Yeah, that's really good.
That's the first thing that came into my mind, though.
I'd say that. I mean, the only one that, not the only one, but the most recent one that I can think of is Baby Cobra. I mean, that first Ali Wong hour is fucking crazy. It's so good. It's out of nowhere. You like don't, you know, I knew Ali very, very little when in New York. I think I was at when I started, she was at the tail end of doing like Ochi's Lounge and comics and shit like that. But I remember seeing her and being like, oh, that chick's funny. And then I forgot. And then I saw that hour and I was like, oh, she's like top tier, really fucking funny.
Yeah. I can't think of a goddamn person.
I'm trying to think like
you like Douglas by Hannah Gadsby.
Yeah, David Spade's last hour, and he kind of looks like a woman.
There's also like I'm sure one, and I don't know if I've ever seen all of them from front to back, but I'm sure like some of Sarah Silverman's stuff.
Oh, Jesus is Magic, man, or whatever. Yeah. That's a really
we're
great
all
hour.
Magic, or we're
Sarah Silverman's
or something.
Her last hour was really good too. So that's my
very talented young Jewess.
I loved her show. She had a sketch show or whatever that kind of show was. It was like the Sarah Silverman program or something.
Yeah, it was a good show.
I love that. With Steve G and Aggie or whatever his name is.
And Brian Posehn.
Yeah, it was great.
All right. Sweet. Let's go to our next one. So
this breeze right.
Yeah. Troyer Wallace Evans. What's something you were unable to do as a kid that ate at your soul but meant literally nothing? He said, I was unable to say the word comfortable in elementary school.
I guess
we have some truly damaged listeners, which really makes me happy.
I guess like skateboarding. I always wanted to skateboard. I bought a skateboard but never really would commit the time to learning it. Everyone on my block was more into BMX, so we went down that route, and I was serviceable at doing like basic like dirt jumps or like a street tail whip. I never went on like half pipes with it or anything, but that was I always wished I could have skateboarded or at least committed to learning it because it just looks cool.
Do you have any word? I remember, it's funny that he says uncomfortable or whatever. I remember a full day where I was standing online for lunch, and spaghetti was for lunch. It was probably like first grade or something like that. I was brand new to school, and you had to order between spaghetti and whatever the other option was, which was probably like a cheese sandwich. And I could not say spaghetti. I said paschetti. And I could not stop. I was like, what the fuck is the word? I was in first grade screaming, what the fuck is the word? Like online with other children around me. And I'm like, it's not paschetti. What is it? I was so frustrated and pissed.
I had something like that where my teacher asked me what year I was born. And this was like 1999, I think. And I kept saying 1999. And she was like, maybe it was sooner because that seems retarded. And I just kept going 1999, and she's like, no, the year you were born. I was like, 1999, and she's like, no. And I remember her getting incredibly frustrated with me, like not even like, oh, this is cute. He's kind of I think I was in like 5th grade, and she was like, come back tomorrow, and you better know what year you were born. And I was like, I remember like being on the verge of crying because she was yelling at me so much about it. And I knew 1999. I still don't know.
What year
fuck
were
that,
you
dude.
born?
It's not your fault, Brendan. 11th grade's hard.
Yeah, I was really a junior. Whatever that means.
I don't know either.
Just thought I'd laugh and hope we move on in time.
Yeah, most of the thing I was just talking to Nicole about this the other day is like a lot of the things that I'm doing now are all making up for my childhood. So like, the sneakers that I loved and couldn't get, or my parents wouldn't get them for me, I'm now buying. I obviously went on a wild hunt for a BMX bike, from my childhood. I just bought a 1995 Mongoose that I'm like re-outfitting and completely turning into the Crew Jones bike. It's like,
Did you go back to blonde from purple? You're off purple again?
No, it did the pink. There's like some pink in there, but it mostly kind of washed out in the sun. So I have to re-pink my stink.
That's fine.
Thank God you guys laughed. I feel like both of you are taking this show so seriously.
One of us definitely.
What? Yeah, what are you talking about?
Brandon
I've been threatened with a fist fight thus far.
Well, you deserved it with what you said. I don't even remember what you said.
What did I say? I didn't say anything.
You didn't say anything. I haven't even said.
But
your
you're
name.
still catching it.
Yeah,
and you'll continue to catch it.
I'll throw it back at both of you.
Could you get Nicole out of the room for 4 minutes so we can just figure out what the fuck is going on?
No, not even for Patreon. That's when we get an offer from OnlyFans to do a fucking free show that they'll pay us $11 a month for. All right. So next question, Troyer Wallace. Oh Jesus Christ! What a terrible question. Is it worth moving across the world to be with a girl? Asking for a friend. Tell your friend no.
It depends on so many things. What you want to do with your life, that's the most important.
Yes.
Because if you're like, I want to do something, because he lives in Chicago. So if it's something where you need to be in a major metropolis American city, then that's going to be tough. But if you do something like you're an accountant where you can work anywhere in the world and you like to travel and spice it up and you think you're in love, then absolutely it is. It's just a matter. I mean, for us personally, it would be a detrimental nightmare because we're moving away from the best place on earth to do comedy. I mean, this was obviously when comedy existed, but I mean, for sure. I mean, we can move around the earth right now. We can fucking all go to Bali together, and we would be doing just as many spots. I think maybe more so.
Definitely more. There is no social distancing happening on the Gili Islands.
Dude, if we go to the Gili Islands, we will be the only 3 comedians on the islands. Basically on Earth, you know? Did
I tell you guys what happened? Was that on our way out there, Nicole, or on our way back from the Gili Islands when that boat? The way back. So like the boat before us, or it was the one right after, it just sunk and like killed a bunch of people. Like, the engines exploded in the back. It like blew off 6 guys' legs and feet and like just killed a bunch of vacationers. And then they're like, all right, well, that boat's no good. Hop onto this one, gang. Let's go back to mainland.
Oh my God.
Like, I guess we gotta.
You're like, free drink ticket.
Yeah. I don't even think we did that. I think I bought like an extra pair of bootleg Ray-Bans on the fucking dock.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Wild stuff.
Wow.
Is it worth moving across the... Yeah, I mean, I guess that is... Feeney's answer is it. It completely depends on what you're going to do. If you can remotely work from wherever the fuck, then it doesn't matter, and you want to experience a different place to live, by all means. But
God.
If your sole reason for moving there and is the girl, and it's gonna put you out for everything else in your life, don't put that pressure on her. She doesn't deserve that shit.
For sure. Then like if you start hating your new life, you'll grow resentment towards her.
Yeah,
she doesn't want that shit. But here's the question: are you getting laid?
Yeah, Brendan is 4 months no orgasm. She's like, buddy, I'll fly to fucking Mars if it means getting pussy.
I'll go to fucking Jupiter for some space pussy.
I'll tell you where I'm stopping by: Uranus. So do what you want. All right. Next one, last question. A genderless icon with a hammer, my man Michael. Would you rather get both nipples pierced or have one tooth of your choice pulled?
Both nipples pierced. I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
What do you mean, obviously?
Because I don't want any of my teeth pulled.
Okay, but what's obvious about that?
Because also having nipple rings is kind of cool. I remember there was like a minute when I was in high
nipples.
School. Well, not my nipples now, because I have man boobs, so it would look like a doorknob or something. Look like a
knocker.
Yeah,
it would look like a tit ornament.
Yeah, so not my boobies now, but when I was in high school, for a minute I wanted nipple rings because Mark Hoppus had both of them.
When I told my mom I was going to the city at like 16 or whatever to get my eyebrow pierced, my mom offered to pay if I would get my nipples pierced instead, because she thought that at least those I could hide.
Yeah, that's a classic Irish mother right there.
Yeah.
She also when I was getting my coat of arms tattooed, she goes, I was 18, and she goes, if you wait until you're 21 to get it, I'll pay for it.
Did you do that? That's a good deal.
It's like, nice try. You're not going to talk me out with reason.
Yeah.
I may not want it then.
Yeah. I probably won't. That's like the Michael Scott thing where he's like, oh, I might not want a baby in 8 months.
Yeah, it's like, probably not. Yeah. I was supposed to get my coat of arms right here, like above my chest on my pec, but it was
is so Long Island.
Yeah, but it was too small. It was too much detail in the coat of arms. He was like, there's no way it's going to fit here. You got to blow it up and put it on your back. And I was like,
that while you had that metal bar in your chest?
When was that? Yeah, it must have been because I was 18. So I must have had it at that point, I guess.
Dude, he does that. It just like creates a magnet force between fucking needle and bar.
Oh, that was a bad time because I remember when I got the tattoo, it was so itchy. You know, Mike, from having a back tattoo, it gets so itchy and it peels. I laid down on white sheets and I came up the next morning and my entire tattoo was imprinted in the sheet
in blood.
Blood and ink. Blood and color. Yeah.
Cool.
Oh,
was pretty
dude.
cool.
I remember my younger sister Chloe ratted me out for my back tattoo. Because
Oh.
I got my arm thing, and my mom was like, "Oh, like it's so fucking ridiculous," and I was like, "Your mother gave me the idea. She's the one that told me what the words were. Like, fuck off." And she's like, "All right, as long as that's your last tattoo." And then, of course, I got like the other one that I thought of for 8 minutes on my back, like a week later.
Yeah. Well,
And
they're
she,
so addicting.
it's
They are.
immediately addicting. And as soon as, I lived at home and had hundreds of dollars. So, of course, all of that was going to be stamped to my body permanently.
I love that when you're like, I had hundreds to spare. Tens of hundreds to spare.
So I remember, I forget what happened, but I like accidentally lifted my shirt to like a little peak or whatever, like the bottom peak. And my little sister, I guess I was 18. She must have been 12, 13 at the time, was like, "What the fuck's on your back, mom? Mom!"
Oh.
And my mom,
Whoa.
like
What a
T2
narc.
Terminator, sprinted into the room and was just like, "What is that? What do you have on your
Wow.
back?" And of course, she ripped the shirt up and it caught on like the scabbing and like peeled off my back. And I'm like, "Yay!" It's like pulling your underwear off the head of your dick like 40 minutes after you come. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
That feeling.
Dude, I got the clover on my arm when I was like 16, and my parents didn't know about it or anything. And then I got 2 tattoos later on in my life, and then I was showing my mom the new tattoo that I got, and she was like, "Oh, that's cool." And then she was like, "When did you get that clover?" And I was like, "Oh, because it's such a weird position, because now I was like an adult at that time, so I could have been like, "Oh, I got it when I was 16," but I didn't want to be like, "I've been hiding this from you for a decade."
Right.
No.
So what'd you say?
Oh, I said it was at some point. I
What
was
about
like,
the
legally.
Jacob tattoo?
That was the one I was showing her.
Ugh.
Hilarious.
I can't believe she wasn't really disappointed in you for that.
She probably was. Both of my parents probably were, but what are
You
you
have
gonna
like
do?
you have a swimming penis on your arm with your alive friend's name written on it. What a truly bizarre permanent mark on your body.
I know. Well, part of the tattoo that is so funny is that our parents were like, "What? What are you doing?"
Wait, he didn't get it reciprocated, right?
Nope.
No, he is Jewish and he cannot get any tattoos.
So then what do you
So-
mean we? We're our
both.
parents.
Because I don't know.
Me. Me.
I don't know. I guess my parents, but his parents were like, "What the fuck?"
well,
They were still like, "What the fuck?"
We all know about the classic tattoo I was going to get, the Live, Love, Burn, Die horse collar. But there was another tattoo that I almost got with my friends that I still think would have been kind of cool, which we were going to do. We were going to get like a street light, like one of the classic street lights we have on our block, and then have it like illuminating. And then underneath that, we were just going to write Holiday Park Crew, because we grew up on Holiday Park Drive. And so of all of our friends got it. And what's funny, because it's like, I don't talk to like any of those kids anymore, but I was like, oh, that'd be a fun little memory, depending upon where I got it. If I got it on my arm, it'd be a nightmare.
Tattoo sucks.
Well, it doesn't exist because
Dude, my friend Rob has like, I'm just thinking of terrible tattoo. He has like bar none the worst tattoos of any person of all time. And of course he has like we grew up in the Nick Lachey era of tattoos. So he had like 2 Chinese symbols on his fucking
barbed wire.
Yeah, that say like die whitey on his right shoulder or whatever. So I was asking him, like, he hates it now, of course, and we're talking about like him fixing it. He's like, yeah, I think I'm gonna get it like fixed. And I'm like, oh, cool. What are your ideas? He's like, well, I think I'm gonna add like 1 more Chinese symbol to those 2. Then I'm gonna do 3 on the other shoulder so it's even, and then I'm gonna do 2 koi fish jumping in the middle with water splashing up. And I'm like,
Christ.
your idea to fix it is to triple down on the Asian?
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
I love
dude?
that. I respect that. My buddy, one of my good friends from home, has a Zoo York tattoo. Remember that clothing company?
Oh,
Got the logo for Zoo York on his tricep.
Oh, that sucks.
It
yikes.
does suck.
Wasn't that Ashton Kutcher's company?
No.
Was it?
I
No.
think he may have popularized them. I think he wore that before like Von Dutch.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus Christ! But anyway, I'd rather get a tooth pulled.
He also got one
which
that
tooth?
he also got one for his mom when his mom passed, and it said "breathe easy," but there was no E, so it said "breath easy."
Oh.
And then we had to tell him, which was unfortunate. And then he went back and got, and then they fixed.
They shimmied the
They
E.
shimmied the E in there. Yeah.
Kevin James.
What a great callback.
Yeah.
Which tooth? Probably like a top back molar. You know, whatever's
like a wisdom tooth.
the
Oh,
one right
yeah,
before the wisdom tooth. I'd get that plucked directly out and be completely fine with it. I'd probably
I would
change
get
how I eat zero.
Yeah, I would get a back tooth pulled, but if my option is getting nipples pierced, I'd rather get the nips pierced.
I would not. I would not want to bring. I mean, my nipples are too hairy to have anything jangling over there.
Yeah, but you can take it out after like a day.
Who says?
Doesn't
I don't
say
know.
you can't. Can't put the tooth back in.
Yeah. You can't put the tooth back
All
on.
you have to do is go through
Disagree.
with it.
I can get an implant. So
Yeah.
what kind of rules are those, Brendan? Okay, so I'll pull my tooth and then I'll get a crown the next day.
That's like $1,400.
Yeah.
Well,
If
the
you were
government's
smart-
paying for it. That's
If you
part
were
of
smart, you would get the Stavros and get a front tooth pulled and have a whole career from it.
Yeah.
I have a Billy Joe Armstrong half a tooth right up front. That's my
Right.
my
have
real
like
tooth. Should I just start doing that?
I have a tooth behind my teeth.
What?
Over here.
Oh, you have the extra tooth.
What? Yeah. No, I have like you see, it's like. Right?
No, go this way so we can see it.
Oh, that's not
Yeah.
really that behind.
That's
I
just
have
a pushback tooth.
I have a pushback tooth right in the middle.
That's just a tooth that's in the middle of losing a game of Guess Who, like where they go so farewell.
Is it white?
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to do one? What's the scenario from our little bag of tricks, and then we'll get
Brennan's
the hell
been
out of
keeping
here.
Time, but we haven't been told that we were close to.
We've been going for like 50 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, I remembered a little too late. I remembered about 27 minutes ago to start recording.
I love how we said about 27 minutes ago, and it was exactly
27. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So, question number 1. How do you think the world would be different if advertising didn't exist? Do you think we'd all be better people, wanting less? Or is it human nature to want more?
Well, commercial advertising, I think it would be
advertising. Yeah,
because I think
selling shit.
We'd probably want less, but we'd just covet our neighbor's shit. You know what I mean? We'd just instantly break one of the commandments, and everything our neighbor had, we now have to have.
I do think there's something to advertising that's beneficial for us, and that is consistency and quality of repetition of products. So for instance, like drinking a Coca-Cola versus a fucking Dr. Pibb or whatever the fuck it is, it's like, okay, Coca-Cola is a superior product. Is it because they've marketed to us, or is it because they've sold more? Did they sell more because it was marketed harder, or did it sell more because it's a better tasting beverage? I'm not sure.
It was first.
What?
Dr. Pepper?
No.
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola was first.
Oh.
Right,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. So it's like, so you'd want like, or if you, for even on a much more like practical level, if you wanted to get like a surgery or something and you wanted to find out what hospital,
right?
Otherwise you would just go into any hospital and be like, I hope this is one of the best, versus being like, no, let's go to fucking Sloan Kettering or fucking.
Well, that would be interesting if the research if we're still capable of researching. So if the internet is still there and product reviews are still there, but we're not being constantly marketed to based on, our digital imprint, I think I think life would be better if we weren't constantly being inundated with new goods that would, somehow satiate the hole in our soul. But only if there was still research available for things like you just said, where it's like, if you want to find a good doctor, you can find one. It's not just like you show up and, hey, if you take out my spleen, good, I made the right choice.
Yeah. I think it would be like, I think advertising would happen. I think it would if even if it didn't exist till this day, I think someone would be like, why don't I just sell me talking about their shit? You know what I mean?
That's kind of it, right? Because even if you go back, you watch the Ballad of Buster Scruggs and stuff, and you just watch, the snake oil salesman. I mean, that's exactly what it is, right? They're selling you a fucking bag of goods, and so it's. I think that's existed way longer than what we consider advertising.
That's like the first bit of content marketing, where they attached a backstory to a product and like tried to sell people based on manipulation.
But even you go back, fuck that, dude. Go back to the Bible, and it's always like the fucking like I'm a poor blind leper and blah blah blah, and this happened to me, and this it fucking. We're always pulling at each other's heartstrings. Once we got the ability to comprehend emotion, and we realized we could exploit that for our own personal gain, it was all downhill.
With that in mind, sign up for our Patreon, everybody. Patreon.com/scenariopod. This has been the episode. Thank you so much for all of you who have listened and participate in our Patreon. We love all the questions. We love all the feedback. Like we said, we're a completely malleable podcast, open to suggestions, anything that you guys want to see. Our Fridays Blunts with the Boys have turned into Is Brendan Smarter Than Anybody? Also now has then spiraled into Are we smarter than anybody? And the answer is a resounding nah, son.
But also, we have 2 new Patreon members.
Oh, hell yeah.
Read
them off. Shout out.
Tom Meredith.
Tom
He's a
Meredith.
$10 genderless icon with a hammer.
Thanks, you sweet piece.
Cheers.
And then Adrian Rogers, who's a cool dudette with a big D. Both new.
Damn.
Both are awesome.
Hell yeah. Thank you guys so much for signing up. Be sure to tell your friends and keep an ear to the streets because we got some big news when it comes to this podcast. A lot more content coming your way. And we're going legit, baby. Shit's getting wild in 2020. So why not just start an enterprise?
Thank you. On the ground floor, baby.
Yeah, ground floor. Bye.
Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario?